Om Shanti. In today's Murli, Baba says that I make you like myself. And when you are in Seva, many a times people ask this question. Why is it that only BKs will go to heaven and nobody else will go to heaven? Yes. So do you think that it's right that only BKs will go to heaven and others will not go to heaven? Yes. No, that's true. Baba has said that until you become a Brahmin, you cannot become a deity. And Brahmin means listening to Shiv Baba through Brahma Baba. So until and unless you become a Brahma Kumar, Kumari, you cannot become a deity, that's for sure. But why? So, there was this lady and she was constantly telling me that I don't like that you people say that you will only go to heaven and others will not go to heaven. So I said, all right, no problem. We will solve this issue. Tell me, what is heaven? Tell me, what is heaven? What is the difference between hell and heaven? And she did not know even one difference between hell and heaven. So I told her that if you do not know how to, if you cannot even visualize or even where how can you reach where even your mind cannot reach? So how can you reach somewhere which you can't even visualize or conceptualize? Yes, for anybody to reach somewhere, first the mind has to go there, the buddhi has to go there. And if my buddhi doesn't even have the concept of something, and my mind can't even create the feelings of that place, how can you go there? It's not possible. So Baba says that, and in the Murli today, Baba says that no human with individual effort, so however hard somebody tries, no human can make an effort on his own and go to heaven. And Baba is especially talking about sannyasis. And he says that sannyasis make a lot of effort to go to Brahma, but they cannot go on their own. I am the one who has to come and take everybody home also and to the new world also. And it's not a question of equality. It's a question of what is the truth. And Baba is not saying that you cannot, so Baba has not excluded anybody from the opportunity to come and, understand the knowledge and take the inheritance of going home and going to Satyug. It's not like Baba has said that only these people can become BKs. And what is a BK anyway? So if you look at it, so it's not like Baba comes and teaches BKs. When you come and learn from Baba, you become a BK. And that opportunity is available to everybody. Baba has not excluded anybody from coming and learning. So every soul has the opportunity to go to heaven. Every soul on the planet. It's not like Baba says, no, you can't study or you are not allowed. But there are various sanskars that we have, sanskars that we have created that stop us from taking the inheritance. So Baba never stops anybody from having the right to take the inheritance. But Baba says there is a method, and only when you follow it, you will go to heaven. And everybody is free to follow it. But then it cannot be like just in the name of equality, everybody will go to heaven. So there is a method to be followed, and that has to be followed. And Baba today says that I come and I take you to heaven. You cannot go to heaven with your own effort. Why? Because so there are, I think the first thing is filling our mind and buddhi, with the knowledge of the home and the new world. So the first thing I told you in the beginning of the class today is, how can you go somewhere which you can't even visualize? Yes, and Einstein said something very nice. He said, your imagination is your preview to the future. So how can you have a future which is not even in your imagination? You ask anybody in the world, they have no knowledge of what our home is like, or what is the stage of the soul in the home, or what is the consciousness of the soul in heaven. So what is divine consciousness? What is the consciousness of our seed stage, our original stage? It doesn't even enter the buddhi. There is no concept. There is no concept of what a soul is like in home, in the sweet silence home, or what is the stage of the soul in heaven. And when there is no image, there is no image associated with the form of the soul, there is no image associated with the stage of the soul. And when my buddhi cannot even conceptualize it, visualize it, how can I realize it? So first comes conceptualization, visualization. Then comes effort. Then comes realization. And then comes actualization, I think. So until I can create an image of what it is like me to be bodiless. So, how am I, the soul, without a body in my sweet silence home? What is my quality? How do I feel? What is my stage like? And then if I can create an image of how do I think in heaven? What are my feelings in heaven? How do I feel in the face of adversity, diversity in heaven? Adversity, I don't think there is in heaven, but diversity there is. So how do I feel in the face of diversity in heaven? What is my consciousness? What is my attitude in heaven? So until I can create a visual of all this, or at least intellectually understand all this, there is no way I can practice it. And today in the blessing, Baba is talking about practicing the different stages. But before that, there is knowledge of the different stages. And then with that knowledge, my buddhi is able to practice. So, you hold that knowledge create that stage many, many, many times. And then slowly, gradually, that stage becomes a reality for you. It is not a pseudo practice. So, when I used to meditate in the beginning, so I used to feel like I'm sitting here and one star is coming out of the body, and that star is going to heaven, star is going to the soul world, and then sitting there and feeling the feelings of peace. But I didn't feel that that is me. So I could visualize, conceptualize a star moving out of the body, and then that was a pseudo practice. I was just practicing like Baba taught. But then with that practice and with the effect of that practice, so as you start drawing that peace into yourself, slowly, gradually, it became like I, the soul, leave my body here and I go to the soul world. And that is my home. And I started feeling comfortable in my home, and I started feeling that position of rest, that I'm sitting peacefully like a seed, full of purity, full of peace in my home. And with that realization, when I started coming back, and I remember there was this, there was this sister, and in the very beginning of my years in Gyan, I saw her and she was sitting on stage, just like 4 hours or 5 hours, and she was not moving at all. Like she was just sitting like this on the stage for 4 or 5 hours, and there was a program going on, and she was not the one speaking in the program. So there were many speakers, and this sister was just constantly sitting, and I could see that even her eyes were not moving. And then it was very interesting to watch that stage. And then that first time I practiced that if I'm a soul and I can sit absolutely peacefully in the soul world for, there is no time in the soul world. So I might even be sitting for like something that counts as 5 years, 10 years in the material world. So if I can sit for that long in that stable, peaceful, loveful, pure stage in the soul world, then why can't I do that in the body? And then I tried to experiment with it. And I was once sitting in a similar program where I didn't have much to contribute. And I just saw myself like a small star sitting absolutely peaceful, still and silent in this body. And I just saw that this body is as still as me. And I could do that. And it was beautiful. And then I realized that if I realize my stable nature, so first thing is I'm knowledgeful about the stability I have in the soul world. So you see that just like you see the stars in the sky are absolutely still, not moving at all, and beautifully shining, radiating light. So you are like that. And then when you realize that you are that, and when you try to experiment with that stage here, then you create a state for yourself where you can be in your still stable stage while being in this world. So there is knowledge, there is, this pseudo practice, then there is this realization, then there is that experimentation in the physical world based on the spiritual stage that you have experienced in meditation. And then there is this, what do you say, this personality change, I think, that you realize this is who I am. And Baba says that how can you achieve all of this when you don't even have the knowledge of who you are in the soul world and the knowledge of who you are in heaven or what your stage is like? So I remember that when I came into Gyan, so everybody told me that, you know, egoless, you have to be egoless. So I understood that I have to be egoless, but what more? Like, okay, egoless is fine, but then I have operated with ego all the time. So, you know, you always, your sense of self is so body conscious. So in the real world, when you work, when you engage in relationships, then what do you hold in your mind? So let's say I'm talking to you. So who am I talking to you? I need to have a sense of self. So, okay, that sense of self doesn't have to come from ego, but then where does it have to come from? That's the question. Because I need a sense of self when I'm operating. And what is ego? Ego is your sense of self coming from your identity in the physical world. So, you know, your identity based on your achievements, accomplishments, your body, your age, your gender, your relationships, your status, position. So when your sense of self comes from all of that, and your sense of duty comes from all of that, because it's not just the sense of self, but it's also the sense of duty that comes from all of that. So let's say that there is a child, and then I understand I'm a sister to that child, or a mother to that child, or a friend to that child. So that's the sense, that's where I derive my sense of duty from. So that sense of self and that sense of duty is all ego-based. It's based on my identity as a in this physical world. So then in Satyug, Satyug is an operational world. It's not a still world of silence, inactivity, not like the soul world. So in Satyug, when I'm carrying on my duties or when I am engaging with souls, then what is my sense of self? So if I have no idea about what egolessness is practically, and if I have not built that stage, you know, with this, so let me put it properly today. So you see that Baba gives us Swaman, okay? Swaman is the opposite of Abhiman, ego. So in the world, we have this sense of self and sense of duty coming from our context in the physical world. And then Baba gives us a spiritual context. Baba says, you are a peaceful, loveful, yes, you are a dutiful soul, you are the child of God, you are knowledgeful, you are powerful. So you operate from that sense of self, right? Your spiritual sense of self. So right now, we have to practice that, right? So when I'm giving you the class, nobody is watching it, right? Nobody is watching it. Nobody knows whether I'm giving you a class half-heartedly, one-fourth-heartedly, or full-heartedly. But then I know that I'm God's child and God is the perfect one. So I am the child of perfection himself. So I have that sense of self that if I'm the child of the perfect one, I have to give my 100%. And that doesn't depend on how you are receiving it, how, or what is the circumstance or anything. It is a sense of self that I have, that I belong to the highest on high. So when I am in action, I have to be an image of that. Yes, and it doesn't even, and it's not about linguistic efficiency. It's not just about clarity of knowledge. It's also about who Baba is. Baba is the ocean of love, ocean of purity. And I'm Baba's child. So everything I do has to have all the elements, the elements of purity, peace, love, power. So this self-realization. So, there is this, people use this word very fashionably in the world. They say self-realization, self-awareness. But until you have knowledge of the self, and the self defined in the context of God, you cannot have self-awareness. So people say self-awareness, people talk about, self-realization, but they have no idea about who is the self. And in whose relationship are you? And we have always heard that man is made in the image of God, but we have no idea who God is. So we don't know what our image is or what our qualities are. And Baba says that I give you the knowledge of all of that. And then your sense of self and your sense of duty has to come from your sense of realization that you are God's child, the child of the ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, purity, and you are a reflection of him. And when you start seeing yourself like that, then you develop sanskars of purity, because you are coming into action as a child of the ocean of purity, as a child of the ocean of peace, as a child of the ocean of love. So then you develop sanskars of purity, sanskars of peace, sanskars of knowledge. And then in Satyug, you don't operate either from a sense of ego, nor do you, impose on yourself this Swaman either. You don't even have to think that I'm an child of ocean of purity. You just have that sanskar. You do everything with love. You see with love. You talk with love. You are pure. You are peaceful. So Baba says, you cannot transition from Kalyug to Satyug without me. Because without me, you have no idea of what a sanskar of purity, what a sanskar of knowledge is like. And Baba is the ocean of knowledge. Baba is the ocean of purity. And when he comes, by his being, by his doing, by his talking, he brings us in alignment with himself. So every day Baba's murli, brings us to self-realization. And then with this knowledge, we start experimenting and then slowly creating those sanskars which we need in the soul world and which we need in the new world. So all this sharing I have done because it's important to understand the role of Baba. It's not, Baba says that until I come, you cannot move to the world of purity and peace and absolute love. And Baba today says that there are so many things that stop a person from surrendering to Baba and becoming what he says. And Baba says that in case of a sannyasi, he gives an example that even if the sannyasi realizes this is God, he has to give up his ego. He has to tell his followers that this one is higher than me. And then he also has to become a child. He cannot be, so when you come to the yajna, you are a child, irrespective of what position you enjoyed in the world. You're just a student, you're just your Baba's child. And then you have to surrender with all humility so that you can learn from Baba. And Baba says there are so many things, so many sanskars, you have to give up lust, you have to give up ego of who you are in the external world, you have to give up anger, you have to give up greed, you have to give up, this sense of I'm higher and mightier than others. So there are so many of our sanskars which are so prohibitive. And then once you have faith, so there are two things that Baba underlines in the Murli today. First thing is having complete faith that this is Baba, I am his child, and he is the one who creates heaven. So this faith has to be there. And the second thing is surrender, complete surrender and following his Shriman. Because even if I have faith, if I don't do what he says, I cannot become what he's making me. So Baba says that first thing is you understand that without me, there is no going to the soul world, there is no going to heaven, because you have no idea, you don't even have a visual or a concept, then how can you become that? And the second thing is, even when you have faith in me, even when you understand the knowledge, practicing it is another story, because knowing the soul world is okay, but do you practice enough to create that seed stage which you will need to move there? Yes, so I have knowledge about something, and so, some people have great knowledge about cooking, but they are very bad cooks because they have theoretical knowledge, but no practical knowledge. Yes, and so, some people, when they taste the food, they will tell you, "Arey, isme dalchini nahi dala." So they can taste and tell you that this is not there, but you ask them to make that recipe, they don't know how to, how to begin in the kitchen also. So Baba says that knowledge is separate. You have knowledge. We are those fortunate children who are studying from Baba, and we know everything. Baba has given us the knowledge of the three worlds, the three aspects of time. Do you even realize that in this whole world, apart from we BKs, nobody knows what heaven is or what the soul world is, or for that matter, what is a soul? Nobody knows this. And if you have no knowledge, how can you be that? Without knowing, how can you go to the being? It's impossible. So Baba says, one thing is knowledge, and without me, the ocean of knowledge, there is no knowledge. So then the question of being doesn't arise at all. But having said that, we are very fortunate that we have the knowledge, but let's ask ourselves, how much are we practicing that which we know? Now you think about it, you don't know how to cook food and you are hungry. And you're going on being hungry is fine. But then you know how to cook food, but you've never done it, and so you are hungry is bad. Yes, so, people, they are searching for peace, searching for happiness, because they don't know how to shift their stage to the state of peace or state of happiness. But for us, Baba has told us how to shift our consciousness to the soul world, how to shift our consciousness to the angelic stage or to the divine state. And still, if we have not practiced it, and then in in situations where there is sorrow, there is suffering. In those situations, we also behave like souls who have no knowledge. We also start crying, or we also start feeling the sorrow and pain. Then that is very deplorable. And that means we have no gratitude. Yes. So do you feel if you have cooked food for somebody and then they stay hungry, don't eat the food, then do you feel they have no gratitude for what you cooked? Yes. So that's a sign of no gratitude. So, at least even if we are not able to, sometimes, we are not cooperative, we are not Baba's right hand, okay. But at least we should have that much gratitude that Baba has given these treasures of knowledge of our powerful states and powerful states of existence, and our purity and peace, and how we feel and vibrate when we are pure and peaceful. So it is a responsibility, a duty, that we practice them and we be in a position where we are able to stay in that state when there is a different vibration, different circumstance around us. And with our stage also become a mirror in which other people can see that they are also capable of having that stage. So Baba says, this much of gratitude we must have, that we practice whatever Baba is teaching us. And in the blessing, Baba tells us that you keep practicing various stages. Yes. And so, I will tell you something very funny about these stages. So once somebody asked Gulzar Dadiji, what is the difference between a soul conscious stage, a bodiless stage, a seed stage? Then Dadi said, you see that when you're soul conscious, it means you are doing your work, you are in your mundane life, and you're aware that I'm a soul. Okay? And when you're bodiless, you're sitting in silence in the awareness that I'm detached from this body. In the seed stage, you are in the soul world, completely bodiless, in that experience of light and might all around you. And then that person said, so Dadi, it's basically all soul conscious stage, and you've given some fancy names to it. So, once you are in the body, once you're out of the body, once you are in the soul world, and it's all different. It's all the same. It's basically soul conscious stage in different places. And then Dadi said, yes, but let me put it like this for you. Every day you eat potato. Yes, everybody eats potato every day, But sometimes you eat it with cauliflower, sometimes you eat it with beans, sometimes you eat it with carrots. And then you say, this is a different sabzi. Because the way you add your potatoes, the way you cook your potatoes, it tastes different every time. So yes, if you look at knowledge, it is all soul consciousness, remembrance of Baba, and remembrance of drama. Yes, it is basically these three things. But how you combine it makes the difference. Yes, so that's the difference. So it's not like these are some very different stages or something, but then when you practice it, it feels different because the positioning in every stage is different. So today we will understand a little about what Baba talks in the Murli. So Baba says, for Raj Yogi children, the various stages are their seats. So do you like to have a seat whenever you're standing? Yes, everybody likes a seat. So Baba says, let the soul also always be on a seat. And these different stages of consciousness are the seat. So whenever you are, all through the day, make sure you, the soul, are always seated on the seat. Okay, so some seat of self-awareness. Now, Baba says, sometimes be stable in the stage of your self-respect. Now, Baba has given us many self-respects, many swaman. Yes. So let's say when you wake up in the morning, then you see yourself as Master Surya. Yes. Baba is the Gyan Surya and I am the Master Surya. And then just like you see, everybody likes a bright and shining sun in the morning. So you also emerge your brightness and all the, light of knowledge in the morning by sitting with Baba in meditation. And then you look at your face, it glows. There is hope, there is beauty, there is realization of your power. So Baba says that, and you like different kinds of seats during different times in the day. So when you are working, you don't like a sofa, you like a chair. When you want to stay relaxed, you like a sofa. So similarly, you can choose various positions of self-respect for yourself during different activities of the day. Yes. So let's say that you are in a setting where you don't have much to contribute, and there are other people doing their things, and you are just there. So then you can have the swaman that I am a sakshi and sathi. So I'm detached in this scenario and I'm with Baba, and I'm like Baba, with Baba sitting and radiating, filling the atmosphere with peace, purity, and vibrations. Okay, so you can choose for yourself different positions for your spiritual stage while you are doing different things in the day. And just like if you choose a right chair all the time, then your body's posture remains good and intact and you don't have backaches and other stuff. Similarly, if you choose good positions for your spiritual stage, then all through the day you will not feel any tiredness or pain. But you have to make sure you're sitting on a seat all the time, a spiritual seat. Then second thing Baba says, sometimes you be stable in your angelic stage. Now, I want to talk about this angelic stage. What is an angelic stage? So, Baba calls it the Avyakt stage. And what is Avyakt stage? Avyakt stage is when you see everything, when you hear everything, when you are in the world, but you don't think about everything. So do you realize how fast you start thinking about what you see and what you hear? Yes, so maybe I see somebody very gaudily dressed in a very simple setting. I saw that. But the second thing is thinking, why, how inappropriate it is, or how I don't like it, or how it pinches the eye, or how people these days have no sense of what to wear where. So you don't have to think about things. People are who they are, things are as they are. And just maintain your state of being loveful, being peaceful in every setting. And that's an effort. because we have had 63 births of body conscious living. And we are very used to thinking about everything that comes our way. We pretty much think about everything. You think about whatever you see and whatever you hear. But consciously practice being an angel and not allowing your mind to think about whatever is in front of you. And then slowly you will be in a stage where, so slowly that stage will be created. Earlier you have to practice, and then you will be in that stage. So this is the second thing Baba says. Then third, sometimes be stable in the stage of a lighthouse and might house. Yes, so lighthouse means you are in a knowledgeful and powerful stage. So, do you understand that there are so many people around you who are looking for support and answers? Yes, there are so many people around you who are looking for support and direction. Everybody is confused. Everybody is lacking power. And sometimes the people around you don't even approach you. They don't want to say that I'm confused or I want some support or power. So just be in that state of being powerful and being knowledgeful when you sit. Then, many people around you figure out their way because of your state of being. And I have experienced this stage of being master lighthouse, might house. So, sometimes when you're sitting before Dadi or before any seniors, then you feel like you came with a lot of questions and lack of clarity. But even without asking those questions, you feel like you have got the answers and you have clarity about what to do. And Baba says this is also a very big seva we can do with just our being. You don't have to do anything. You're just sitting in that stage of having clear, knowledgeful stage and being very powerful spiritually. And other people around you, they find their way automatically. So Baba says, sometimes do this seva, being a lighthouse and a might house. Just like a lighthouse is where it is and the ships around them find the directions. Similarly, you can be that lighthouse. So Baba says, just practice these variety stages and then you will be called a Raj Yogi. Because by being who you are in control of yourself and you're also creating your kingdom, because creating of a kingdom is a very subtle seva. And just by being who you are, you're giving the power and the might to others also, and also, being self-sovereign and not coming under the influence of your weaknesses and your organs. Okay, Om Shanti.